turning our attention to the beautiful world of the arts. I mean, don't you just love arts? Well, maybe even if you don't have the money, you can you can experience arts in different ways, right? And this morning, we're speaking to someone whose work is increasingly showing just a beauty in arts, particularly for Africa. We have joining us Sylvester Aguddah, a collage and mixed media artist, joins us live from Canada. You can even see his outfit. The background is artistic. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Brief.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
I imagine it's midnight there, or at least past midnight there. So thank you for staying up. It's all for the love of arts, right? But first, I mean, looking at your work, you've participated in over 50 exhibitions, 45 solo exhibitions. Your passion is obvious. You've, collected, or your work has been collected across Africa, Europe, America, Asia. Speak to us about how rewarding this has been for you. When you look back at the effort you put in, the time, what would you describe art as for you in terms of the reward? And I'm not talking just money.
Thank you very much. Truly, if you put money before passion, you'll miss everything. And for me, it has always been the passion. And, I would say this is one of the most fulfilling parts of my lifetime. I've been in the corporate world for 18 years, and the people I've met as an artist in just 8 years of being in the art space formally, it's incredible. I've been privileged to meet heads of states, presidents of nations. It's amazing. I feel very fulfilled doing something that I just love doing. It's just fun for me. And I'm really happy that God has brought me this far. I'm a graduate of business administration. I studied business administration and I specialized in marketing. But here I am today as a full-time artist, and my art is taking me around the world. It's very, very fulfilling, I must say.
So, in other words, if you had to place arts and your corporate experience, naturally you've chosen arts, but you're saying that even arts is much more rewarding than that. Am I correct?
Yes. So it's a gradual process. I wouldn't say money first.
Definitely.
I would say fulfillment. Yes. So right now, art has opened doors for me. Places I didn't know I could go to. My art has just showed. People see my art and they invite me. I was recently invited by one of the mayors here in Canada because she came across my works, and that alone just makes me very happy. And now I'm trying to empower people. But my greatest joy is the fact that I'm able to tell the story of Africa with what I do. So I don't know how to put it, but it's just amazing. And for me, what makes it stand out is that because I don't have any formal training in art. People say, "Oh, you are self-taught," but I call myself the God-taught artist because God opens my eyes to a lot of things. I get a lot of inspiration, and the kind of things I do. People at the first sight see my works as paintings, but they are not paintings. They are actually made from different pieces of materials: paper, fabric, recycled materials, rubber, and plastic. So when I put these things together and they turn out this way, it's unexplainable. It's just incredible. I feel really, really happy about what I do.
I can see how vibrant the colors are. The vibrancy of the color is just something you cannot just walk away. It just drags you in. Let's go back to that self-taught element of you. When did you start drawing? When did you see this? And how did your parents help you out in shaping the arts in you, if I use that word, before you forward into the corporate world and found yourself back into what you originally should be doing?
Yeah, so when I started drawing right from when I was a child, and at my teenage age, I was drawing all the time. My dad wasn't really happy about it. And when it was time for me to go to the university, like, what course are you going to choose? Don't tell me you're going to do fine art, because I'm not going to allow you to do that. Go and study accounting, because he's an accountant. You either do accounting, business, or law. So, well, you know how it is. I had to take the instruction, and I took business administration as a course. But the art thing has always been there, So I found myself drawing, making cards, birthday cards, and all that, and in school to make money for myself because the money my parents were giving me was not enough to cover the cost of living. So I was doing these handmade cards, and that was fetching me some money. By the time I had finished school, I was able to build a 3-bedroom from selling cards in school. So that already was a sign that there was a potential there. But after school, I just tried to chase my full-time career as a salesman, and I worked with the FMCG. I worked with telecom, and but there was just something inside me that was missing. And until 2016, when I started to chase my passion, which is art, and in just 2 years, by 2018, I was already on TV. I was on DSTV. I was on Channels Arts House. It was incredible the kind of exposure I got within that time. And then I started getting invitations from countries, from leaders of nations. And, I didn't have so much money, but I was going to places at all expense paid. It was just incredible. Here I am today in Canada, and already I'm so booked for the month. But it's rewarding, seriously, I must say.
Yeah, Mr. Aguddah, when you said you built a 3-bedroom with selling cards, at what age? We just looked at ourselves, okay, and not in this Tinubu's government anyway, because the dollar is not smiling. Maybe tell us that part of the story, because the
okay, so just to inspire people. That was in back in 99. So I was in school, and the whole money my parents give me for the term, finishes like in 2 weeks or maybe in max a month. But the more I made those cards, I was saving money, and I started saying, okay, if you're going to leave school in another 3 years, and you're living with your parents, you will need some space. Yeah, because we had like a 3-bedroom, and I wanted my own space, and we had some space in the compound. So I just told myself, you know what? Whatever amount of money I make from this card, I'm going to put some aside. And I was able to do that, with discipline. By the time I finished school, I had finished building a 3-bedroom, and I told my dad, I said, Dad, you see, you didn't want me to do art, but I went to business school, and right there in business school, I started making cards. And I had a competitor, a lady in business school who was challenging me, so I was always trying to be one step ahead. But the good news is that I've married that woman today, that artist who was competing with me in business school. She's now my wife. So I married my competition. And she's been great inspiration for me. She's one of the people that have been my backbone in my arts journey so far.
That's such a beautiful love story. I can tell you this, I'm sure there are a lot of viewers that just melted listening to that. And I can imagine that influence, not just in the relationship side, but even in what you do, right? And it's great to hear. I also imagine someone is listening to you and is thinking, that is me. Okay, I'm working in the bank right now, but I know that I shouldn't be here. I should be doing some other things. So I want you to speak to how to properly transition, if there's anything like that, and what to look out for, so you don't make that decision and you regret, and then you are back and you look like you don't know what you're doing. So how were you able to transition?
So I tell people, because of the environment in which we find ourselves, you have to have something that brings in some daily income. And so I will not tell you to just leave your job and just jump into your passion, but I feel it's something you can try to. When you love something, you make time for it. So whatever skills, we have people who are talented, good musicians, good writers, good authors, good producers, and they just find themselves stuck in the corporate world. Why don't you just start trying? And the beautiful part of today's world is that the social media is there to help you. There's TikTok, there's Instagram. People are creating content and they're doing greatly. So if you can hijack those opportunities and start putting yourself out there, you never know. There is somebody looking for you. You just need one person to just change your life, and that's it. So if you don't put yourself out there now, then it will be a challenge. But like I said, gradually you transit gradually. It's not something you just do all of a sudden. I had some support from my wife, because while I wasn't working and I was doing the art, she was still working, and art is expensive, the materials and everything. So I needed funding. My first capital was given to me by my wife. So I just encourage people to try as much as possible to see how they can create a fusion between the two, and then gradually focus on the passion. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Aguddah, a lot of family stories you can extract from what you're telling us. I hope you're paying royalties to your wife, by the way. Just
Or she's paying him royalties because I'm sure it comes to her.
we're all for her on this particular one. Justice for her. Let's talk about
That's why my art is mostly about women empowerment, mental health. Depression is real. I use vibrant colors just to create some excitement and keep people positive. I tell African stories. I'm proud to be African any day, anytime. And we have a rich culture. We have lots of stories to tell. And I'm one ambassador that would always want to push our story out there, especially for Nigeria.
We're happy and excited with the stories you're telling. But walk us through your thought process in terms of how you create, Just if you can help us visualize it for a moment before we begin to wind down.
Okay, so I'm driven by the things I see, the people the people that are encountered, the places I've gone to. I was brought up in the north in Kano, and then I schooled in Zaria, and then I worked in Jos, and so I travel West Africa. I drive myself along the West Coast. I meet people, the culture, and everything. I love nature. I'm always by the beach, and I like to go hiking. I like riding. And so these are things that inspire me. I go on my phones, I take pictures, and I come back and I analyze those pictures and I put them into existence. And it's fun when I play with these materials, paper, fabric. It's incredible what you can do with these things that you find around you. Recently I got some washed away wood by the beach and I transformed it into an artwork, and somebody paid me some good money for it. So it's like playing football and being paid for it, doing something that you're passionate about and getting rewarded. But like I said, don't put money before your passion.
I must say, it's even beyond the material, it's the effect. Because looking at some of your work, you just feel that sense of vibrance. For some, it's healing. For some, it's encouragement. So people derive different. It's just like medicine, right? It's
True.
It does something in the body. So sometimes you can't even put a cost or a value to it. I want to play a quick game with you. We've been displaying some of your works. I don't know if you name them, but we're going to display them, and then you just say something. What you see about that work, you just say it once you see it, and maybe tell us how long it took you to come up with them. So we're going to go to those shots yet again of your work. I'll play that quick game. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you.
All right. So let's go. Let's see those images yet again. Okay. I think a lot of people are enjoying your pictures behind the scenes. So let's see. All right. Let's go.
This was inspired by the Fresh Stack mask. And this one, I call them the Proud Sisters. They are families where they have all girls, and they're very competitive among themselves. And this one just goes to the Gilly, our Nigerian Gilly. Our women proud, confident. This is emotions. People have different thoughts: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Good people, wicked people, all sorts. And for me, I think these are sisters. This. Reminds me of this is an abstract I did. I was actually excited about it. This is a woman being defended by her husband. She has that confidence that she has a man in her life that can support her and empower her. This is an African woman. I grew up in the north, and the houses like Lele, and they do this Indian dot thing when they dress. So that I mixed up with a little bit of South African woman and then an Indian woman, in the mix.
So that was a blitz of sorts. I hope that wasn't too hard for you. But what about this one?
This is the Ayo. The Ayo. It's a symbolic. They have hierarchies. This is a festival in Lagos where you have this. It's a royalty program festival where you have the Ayo. They call them the Ayo. They come out to dance. And the colors on their cap indicates their hierarchy. Then this is a hunter.
This is the last one.
Yeah, this is from the southwest, a hunter. You can see the depths of the precision in his eyes. You know, he looks like he's looking dull, but he's actually meditating on how he's going to, because if he doesn't hunt and get food, his family is not going to eat.
There you go.
So,
That is beautiful, really. Thank you for walking us through the brilliant work you do. I think I enjoyed this. Maybe I enjoyed this too much. We have to thank you so much for your time, and thank your wife as well for the collaboration and the great work. We've been speaking with collage and mixed art media artist Sylvester Aguddah. Join us live from Canada. Wish you the very best and see you soon, Michael.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Well, we'll take a moment now on the show, and for those who are looking forward to see Jeffrey on the drums, we have Ima Drums joining us. He has played with Wizkid, all the big artists, and he's brought his craft right here to our Lagos studio. So stay with us right here. We'll be right back.